Hello, dear friends. Expert of the site crossbook.com, Grandmaster Shipov is starting the coverage of the candidates match for the World Championship in Sofia. Thank God that after many scandals and tiring talks, we finally reached the chess part. Unfortunately, the match will be very short, only 8 games, so about half of the needed minimum by today's standards. We have to pay attention to the difficult times, to the fast pace of life, lack of money, and other circumstances. I think that this short match will give extra chances for Kamsky, who many think is doomed. As a professional who is carefully following the careers of the participants, I'm going to firmly state it's not that simple. If Topalov does have a beginning advantage, then it's very small, 60% to 40% for Kamsky. I want to turn your attention to the fact that Anand and Kramnik, not the weakest people in our kingdom, constantly were and are having problems in the games with Kamsky. Gata is a tough cookie. Anyone can have problems chewing it. Principally important is finding the weakest links in the opening preparations of the opponent. The first who will find it, which is in a way a question of luck, will be the first to get some serious advantage. The last match, Anand Kramnik, proved that quite well. In the last years, Veselin, like many of his colleagues, more often plays closed openings. He doesn't want to fight with the Russian and Spanish games. The Grunfeld defense, a popular opening which leads to very sharp and concrete battles. It's important to point out that Kamsky's second is Emil Sutovsky, one of the best experts on the Grunfeld defense. Black completely gave up the center to white, but is quickly developing and preparing to counterattack. A classic system. White is defending the square d4, not pinning the knight with the bishop g4. To that jump will follow f3. The number of attacks and defenses is the same. The pawn d4 is floating for now. A very important time moment of the whole system. The character of the later battle is dependent on Black's move. A step away from the more principled, thoroughly tested variations. Chasing the white bishop from an active position, Black is finishing the development of the queen side. A solid developmental move. White is coordinating the rooks, solidifying the center, and preparing the jump bishop h6. The pressure on the square d4 is becoming critical. Gata is trying to provoke the answer d5, which would lead to stabilization of the center. Veselin is playing quickly, trying to psychologically pressure the opponent. He is ignoring the threats to the pawn d4. After the trade of the dark squared bishop, the positioning of the black king becomes worrisome. White's later plan shows the march of the pawn f2 as far as possible, hopefully to f6. Black has an extra pawn on d4, but it's hindering him to activate in the center, and White's hands aren't tied for attack on the king's side. And here's the promised match. The white pawn will never get to f6. Another quickly made move, a novelty. The shown on the clock is very honest. Topalov has an hour and 57 minutes left, Kamsky has an hour and 26. Kamsky is taking his time. There's a lot to think about here. Unavoidable is the sharp, brutal play, which was surely studied at home by the Bulgarian grandmaster. It looks like the Russian-American didn't study this move too well. Played after a difficult 40-minute long analysis. It's obviously an attempt to push the opponent away from the ways thought of at home. Black is calmly finishing the development. Now the tables have turned. Veselin is thinking hard. Gata is resting. Now the time on the clock is Topalov has an hour and 46 minutes, Kamsky has 50 minutes left. Sure play and the novelty gave the Bulgarian grandmaster a start of 1 hour. All attention is on the black king. The run to the more or less safe corner. It's important to come up with complications with the black knight standing off to the side. The quick game is continuing. Black can defend without the knight, and by the way, he still has the extra pawn. Looks like White has to start thinking about winning back their material, and mating ideas are nowhere in sight. Looks like the Bulgarian grandmaster is too ambitious. He wants to attack without paying attention to the risk. The pawn is fortified, white's threats aren't dangerous. Judging from everything, Gata solved all of his problems and is playing to win. As they say, better late than never. I think white's activity is still enough for equating the position. The question is already set up like that. The only move that could have been made. All ahead. The move looks scary, but in reality it just leads to trades and some simplifications. Of course, you can't take the knight on e4 because of the mate on f8. Such traps don't show up in the candidates' matches. Black is taking control of the key squares just in time. In some variations, he's saved by the fact that the white king isn't on h2, so the queen successfully gets to e1. Right now, Topalov is fighting the very old illness, the inability to move back, because the strongest way of attack is in the surprising return of the queen to d2. Kamsky, on the other hand, is calm and relaxed. White's optical illusion of the initiative shouldn't be clouding anybody's judgment. Black is battling at least on equal terms, and in the psychological terms, such a sharp turn of the situation is an advantage for the American. No, the old habit of playing by the principle only ahead didn't lead the Bulgarian to seriously look over the queen's retreat. He made a logical but not the best of moves. Veselin is again thinking. His start in the time is almost gone. He has 40 minutes left, Kamsky has 30. Preparing one move threats is a sure way not to blunder. Looks like steering toward the draw. Here, the move king g8 instead gave chances for success. But rook g8, and exactly, Topalov is using his chance. White is breaking up the black's king's castle, which leads to peace. Black has a perpetual check in his pocket and nothing else. Here, if king f1, queen c1 check, king f2, and queen takes h5 led to an immediate death. So king g3. The entering into the queen ending didn't give black any real chances for a win. His king is too open and white has a fast pawn. Draw. A beautiful beginning of the match. Already in the first game, the opponents showed their strongest cards. Topalov, great opening preparation and crazy pressure. Kamsky, calmness and mastery of defense. The draw is natural. The score in the match is equal. For you, dear audience, was working Grandmaster Shipov. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you tomorrow.